Welcome everybody to the Picture Festival Crafted to Win culture category, curated by myself, Tavi Singh. Just to give you a bit of background, I have 18 years experience in the advertising industry. I've worked across many categories and industries, global brands and local African brands as well. So I'm really looking forward to taking you guys through what really helps us win in this category. And I'm going to share some examples as well and just a few tips on how to enter the awards. And yeah, I will take you through everything. Welcome to everybody. So just to kick off, just to ensure that everyone understands why this category has been implemented and what it's about. So it's really designed to capture the diverse and dynamic areas of not only public relations, but we're trying to look at how do you ensure that you've got relevance in the award entries that you add in, the brief and how you address the brief of the campaign or brands that you worked on and why you entered those campaigns into the category, your creative idea and how you encompass the creative idea and achieving your brand's objectives. Most importantly, as well as the execution needs to meet the brand objective and the strategic approach that you're trying to achieve for your brands. And for me, impact is very important. So as much as we're doing amazing creative ideas, as much as we're doing beautiful creative look and feels, the impact of the work that you do is very important, not only for your clients, but for your brands and the consumers that you're speaking to. Just to give a quick recap of the culture category, we've got about six subcategories that everyone can enter for 2026, which is the corporate image and reputation management category, which is all about honoring campaigns that are effectively managing and enhancing a company's image and reputation, building trust and credibility with stakeholders and consumers at times. Our other subcategory is excellence in PR, public affairs, and lobbying, which is really recognizing outstanding efforts in the public relations space, public affairs, and really lobbying influence in the public policy and shaping public opinion. Most importantly for me is how to drive societal change. So you really, as I mentioned before, how you drive the impact in the work that you're doing in PR and public affairs. The other one is internal culture and employee engagement, which is all about celebrating initiatives that really drive a very positive internal culture within a company. It drives engagement with employees and aligns with the company's values and mission. The media relations and brand storytelling really highlights the exceptional media relations strategies that you guys work on and creating a really storytelling campaign that captures not only the media attention, but also captures your audiences that you're trying to communicate to. And our use of cultural insights is really about rewarding the strategic use of cultural insights to inform campaigns, ensuring they are relevant and authentic to the consumers and people that you're speaking to. And again, most importantly for me, I'll always mention it needs to be impactful, not only for the brand, but also impactful for the consumers. And our last one being the use of influencers and brand ambassadors. I'm going to take you through each subcategory in this presentation. So corporate image and reputation management for me really is all about ensuring that campaigns that you are preparing right now for your entries are not only a combination of being proactive and not only reactive, but really shaping a public perception and really building trust with your stakeholders, making sure that you are managing potential damage of your company's image or your brand image as well. So really what's key here and the strategies I believe you guys can look into when you are creating your work and preparing for awards is really defining the live core values of why you're creating that campaign, why you're building this corporate image for your brand or for your company. And it really needs to be really authentic in terms of the actions. And it's not about just the words or just the creative work as I've spoken about. It needs to drive credibility for your brand as well as the CI for it. And mostly is really driving quality products and services, whether it be a clothing brand, a healthcare brand, it really needs to generate a positive impact to your consumers and really drive a good and a credible reputation for the brand and company. And most importantly, prioritize customer experience and services for your customers. So whatever the brand's reputation and how it positions itself in the industry really needs to drive what its service is all about and the benefit for the consumers. And I do believe in this portion as well that utilizing the right online platforms is really important. So really driving a proper social media management, creating engaging profiles that are relevant to not only the platforms but platform for purpose. So most of us know that we've got multiple platforms that we utilize, but I believe the communication needs to really drive what the platform is all about. For example, yes, we know that Instagram is very about visual look and feels, but if you're looking at utilizing Facebook, you need to define why you want to use Facebook to drive your corporate image and really review. I think reviews play a really big part. Some people do ignore this, but a positive response to a brand or brand's positioning in the market is really important from a consumer point of view. So I really think you need to drive that when you're thinking about the work that you're creating for the awards. And I think, again, content marketing might be really broad, but I do feel there's sometimes a missed opportunity in how people utilize SEO as a touch point, which I believe really drives another strength in terms of how you engage with people. So keywords about your brand or corporate brand in terms of people, what are they asking about? I'll make an example. If people are asking about pizza all the time and you're running a pizza brand positioning, you need to utilize those keywords and think about what are consumers looking for when you're thinking about your brand, or what are they thinking about in terms of top of mind awareness when they're thinking about the brand. All right. Again, these are parts that are also important for the brand. A brand also needs to really position itself in the market and really driving social responsibility. As much as the public image is important, we do want to ensure that we are attracting like-minded consumers who do believe in what the brand does and is also driving impact and really fostering a clear the culture of the brand also needs to showcase in the consumers when they look at your work. And I think most importantly as well is really monitoring KPIs of what you're doing in terms of your corporate image and what you're doing. So I'm going to skip through this because I'm cognizant of time, but this presentation will be shared with everybody on our side. So I want to jump into the best practices for me is really defining the live core values of what the organization is all about. It's not only about the CI, but how do you ensure that consumers understand the mission and values, or even your internal employees really live up to what the brand is all about? Because for me, it really drives the organization's corporate image and how they actually manage the values within the system as well, as much as we're represented in a public forum. And consistent communication, because I believe there's no use of saying my brand cares about nature, but it's only a once-off thing. You need to drive that consistent communication and action points about your brand throughout. And really proactively monitoring, again, I mentioned this, what consumers are feeling about your brand. Are they engaging with the brand? Are they understanding the values of your brand? Are your also internal employees also understanding how they need to represent the brand from a corporate point of view? And most importantly, engage and respond promptly to your consumers and your internal stakeholders, making sure that everyone understands the solutions that this brand is really trying to drive within the market. I've spoken about positive content. Yes, it's very important, but at the same time, we also need to be able to manage any negative comments or feedback from internal stakeholders or even from consumers. So I think those two drive each other, and really you need to create a balance in how you still respond to consumers or respond to internal consumer stakeholders around the environment of the company, which also drives for me the corporate image of the brand. And then measure and adapt. Very importantly, when you are uh, looking and entering this category, make sure you're tracking data. You know, the feedback. Has the strategy really been applied in the way you've created the work? Is it driving the objectives of the corporate image on that side? I am going to show you an example of a brand that not only looks at creative ideas, but represents how the brand looks like from a corporate point of view, not only to consumers, but driving it as the values of what it's all about. So I'm going to just show you a quick YouTube. Just please don't mind. I do need to go into a site for you guys to see the ad.
यहाँ मियाँ बीवी में ऐसी छोटी मोटी बातें तो होती रहती है, वक्त के साथ साथ सब बदल जाता है। और वैसे भी ये तुम दोनों के आपस का मसला है। घर की बात घर में ही रहनी चाहिए बेटा। ये घर तुम्हारी जिम्मेदारी है। जी माँ।
I'm going to pause right there. Apologies to everyone. I was trying to play the Dove inspired ad. So please do give me a few seconds to ensure that I'm sharing the right ad. I'm just going to skip through this one because I do think I've got the different one here. I hope you guys are still seeing my presentation on my end. I'm going to move on to the next category. So the Dove one didn't want to play. Excellence in PR and public affairs lobbying. A very important piece which can be complex in terms of when you are sharing an award or entering this. I think what's important in this category is really driving a strategic storytelling and integrated communication piece. This category for me is a mix of things because it's not only about creativity, but it's also driving ethical standards and transparency about what the brand is all about. So if you're thinking about this campaign, think about how is the idea creating an impact in the community around complex ideas at times. Sometimes it might be simple ideas, but how are you ensuring that it drives not only the code of conduct of what you're speaking about, but what does it do for the public? So you think about policymakers, things about human rights and so forth. You need to understand the why of why you're creating the creative idea and ensuring that when you are creating those ideas, you're still utilizing the guidelines around your government policies, social policies, peers policies. And I think what's also very important for agencies when they think about these ideas is really driving impact and ROI. When I say ROI, I'm not only talking about selling products. I'm talking about return of investment for me with impact of community. What message are you trying to drive to your consumers and your community? How are you positioning how the brand is really driving public affairs and PR in this category? What's also very important again is because PR is a very broad category, and some people might misconstrue it as just having media placements or having multiple PR what you would call it, media broadcasting stuff. It's very key to understand that PR is not only about those touch points, it's also the ability to really communicate really well about what the brand is all about and also be able to manage any crisis. Let's say, for example, you're about to speak about a sensitive topic, which was the video I was playing right now about women abuse or the Unmute campaign from Unilever. Is how do you ensure you're driving a safe way of communicating those kind of ideas to the consumer and really driving awareness and education, but partnering with the right resources and partnering with the right companies when doing this. So I'm going to then play the right video that was supposed to do this for us. Okay, cool. Give me 2 seconds here. So this campaign was mostly about really driving HIV awareness. It was called the Forever Winner campaign, created by Ogilvy. It won a few awards. The aim here was not only about driving a PR piece, but mostly about promoting HIV testing and prevention in the youth in South Africa and ensuring that we're driving a movement with university students. And even in South Africa, I think the topic of HIV has become something that's no longer taboo. But how do you ensure that you lobby people in understanding and unpacking what this is all about? This campaign was not only created as a TV ad, they started creating podcasts, they started creating engaging comms with students, with people across the country. And I'm going to play this for you. It won a Sabra Africa Award, so I'm just going to play this for you.
You want to go first? I can go first. The time to serve yourself, the moment to choose. To choose.
So Nandi, can everyone see my screen?
You said we can't see the video, so I think when you try to share, it takes it to a different screen. So you need to stop sharing and then share the video.
Let me know if you can see it now.
You want to go first?
Can everyone see the video?
Yes, we can see. We can see now. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
I can go first.
Please change it to full screen so that the
The
view will be
time to
better.
serve yourself. The moment to choose. To choose to be. To choose women. Thank you, sneaky link. Or not so sneaky link. Found them. With them, him, or her. Lights on or lights off. Just choose you. To stay forever when get to stay forever ask for consent on your eyes. Mind sex if you're not feeling it. Be forever prepped and forever status checked. Do it for you.
Because when you do it for you, you do it for a lifetime.
I'm forever with okay. And if the you is the you, it's in the shades, you have things through the streets, then be that you. And be that you chooses you. Because it's not wise for the other. It's forever. Wait, no. Are you ready?
Right. So I'm going to go back to the preso. So bear with me as I go through the different slides. Okay, cool. So we're going to go into internal culture and employee engagement, which is a category really about driving effective internal culture and employee engagement, and really creating strategic initiatives designed to not only inform, but also inspire and involve employees, ultimately fostering a positive work environment and driving organizational success. The key principles for me for making sure you've got a successful campaign that you can enter for awards, you need to ensure again that you align your company values and mission. So ensuring whatever you do for the campaign, it's not only about driving innovation, but it drives integrity, collaboration within employees. It ensures that it keeps the employees feeling connected into a greater purpose of what the company is all about. Really driving open and transparent communication. So I do believe at most times companies might believe that employees understand the values of the company or the mission of the company. I do believe it's an ongoing journey and refreshing journey to ensure that you're building trust with your internal stakeholders, to ensure that the internal stakeholders and people understand what the companies are all about. So when you are thinking about these campaigns or looking at the brief and trying to think about what is that award-winning way of driving for this category, think about things that really foster culture and recognition, things that really drive appreciation, but most importantly, that drive results. Because it's not only about doing a fancy, hey, this is an employee advocacy program. It needs to really drive and invest in terms of the employee development within the company and really drive growth for the internal employees as well. What's also important for me is that we're in a world that a lot of people call it a 9 to 5, where people spend most of their time at work. So I do believe that the campaigns that we think about and how we position the work that we do for these kind of campaigns and category, we need to think about things that also drive well-being and work-life balance. If it is an idea that comes about that. Or even when you're thinking about results, think about the feedback, the data that you're grasping for from the internal employees. Did it really drive the objective of landing the mission and value of the company? Did we utilize the right platforms to ensure that everyone understands why we've done this campaign internally? And really also utilizing digital platforms, podcasts, messaging, emailers, you name it. In events as well are very important in reaching a diverse group of employees, because some brands are obviously global. So how are you driving that if, for instance, it's a global brand and you have different countries that you need to think about? And I think campaigns that really showcase that senior leadership within these organizations are driving models that are not only presenting a view or an idea of what missions and values are, but really actively getting employees to participate in the ideas and initiatives that these companies are talking about. This is what I was talking about, which I played earlier, and now you're gonna see the video, all right?
ना मियाँ बीवी में ऐसी छोटी मोटी बातें तो होती रहती है, वक्त के साथ साथ सब बदल जाता। और वैसे भी ये तुम दोनों के आपस का मसला है। घर की बात घर में ही रहनी चाहिए बेटा, ये घर तुम्हारी जिम्मेदारी है।
जी माँ। हाथ उठाना तो बहुत आसान है, लेकिन उसके खिलाफ आवाज उठाना उतना ही मुश्किल। अब जख्म छुपाने नहीं है, बल्कि हिम्मत दिखानी है। 60% घरेलू तशद्दुद का शिकार खवातीन खामोशी को अपना मरहम बनाती हैं। अब वक्त है इस खामोशी को तोड़ने का।
So there's a specific reason why I chose this piece, because it was at a time, and do note that I haven't chosen pieces that were done in 2025 or 2020 for 2026 or 2024. There's a reason why Unilever chose this for as a employee advocacy program, because it was a time in 2020 when most people were working from home. And internally, there was a study across the world that most people right now, when they were working from home, they were experiencing stuff at home that impacted how they show up at work. So Unilever did this not only to drive awareness for the public, but it's really driving an awareness within the company, which they played as part of their virtual town hall as a subject matter that most people might be scared to speak about, but ensuring that it really drives why Unilever cares about the women who work in their company. So it was really making sure that they're partnering with their employees and driving that awareness to say, okay, we know that we're all working from home, but at times we experience things at home that we might not be able to speak about that impact the way we show up at work. So we're going to drive and foster a culture that ensures that our employees can be open enough in terms of the things they experience at home. All right. Our next subcategory is media relations and brand storytelling, which is all about really driving brand storytelling campaigns that are integrating strategies and creating compelling narratives and building a brand's reputation and connecting the public through earned media or not or all kinds of media platforms. I believe these campaigns are all about telling a brand story by creating really emotional connections with audiences. They need to be authentic and really positioning the customer as the hero and fostering only not loyalty, but authentic narrative stories that really drive coverage of the brand, but also utilizing the right media platform. So when you're thinking about entering for this subcategory, think about the things, not only about the idea, but how and where would this idea play well in terms of media? What kind of media platforms and touch points do I need to think about? Online, newspapers, social, on the ground. How do you tell a brand story and utilizing the right media platforms? So when you are thinking about entering this, really do the research. Think about not only doing a big idea, think about, okay, does this idea work for social? Or does this idea require an event? Or does this or campaign require a newspaper, an emailer? So all these different media touch points and really collaborating with your media agents is very important when you're entering this category, because I do believe it's a really collaborative kind of category that's not only about the ATL agency, it's about how do you ensure that your PR and your media teams are collaborating with you to ensure that you've got the right data, the right objectives, and you can ensure that when you're entering this, it really drives media relations and the brand storytelling in essence. So I've already summarized this, but really, again, identifying your target audience, building meaningful media relations. It's not about only knowing 10 publications or bringing 50 media houses. It's about making sure you're humanizing your brand in the right spaces and ensuring that the brand acts in a way that it represents itself well in the media touch points that you're utilizing, and ensuring that you're developing content that's not only relatable, but is really authentic and really drives and showcases the story of the brand in the right media spaces. And I've spoken about leveraging multiple channels, again, podcasts, articles, work with your media teams and ensure that this is really a consistent way of how you prepare your campaigns for awards. So I'm gonna just showcase I might skip this because I am looking at time as well, but we can try look at how this has worked for Airbnb.
Twelve years ago, 3 guests checked into an Airbnb for the first time. Today, 3 new guests check in every half second, making each half second a chance to go from stranger to friend. To embrace another culture. To see yourself in someone else from across the globe. We interact with one another, the more we realize our differences are only imagined. People are people, no matter what side of the planet they're from. Today marks the half-billionth guest arrival on our platform, as well as one more half second towards a world where anyone can belong anywhere.
So the reason I chose this one is not only because of the ad, it's how they utilize the different media touch points to ensure that they drive the story behind why Airbnb was created, why everyone belongs. So they've not only used social, they used multiple ways in terms of engaging and utilizing media to drive this campaign. All right, we're in our next subcategory, which is the use of cultural insights. And what's key here when you're thinking about the campaigns that you're going to enter is, for me, I think this is my favorite one, is cultural insights are very important in the work that we do. And because this category is about culture, I do believe that how we approach our work and campaigns when we're doing work for our brands, we need to ensure that driving cultural insights is not only about localizing a campaign. It's not about taking a campaign and just localizing it or changing colors and changing the demographic way or language that's used. I think it's really very important to understand it's all about really creating something that relates to the consumer in the different countries. So if it's a global campaign, think about how it relates to someone in Nigeria. Think about how it really would relate to someone in SA, in Kenya, in Ethiopia, and in North Africa. Because when you think about that, you now start thinking about beyond the dialect. You think about even the lingo that people speak about. You think about how for example, if it's a consumption product, you'd understand the fact that in different countries that product is consumed differently. So when you're thinking about using cultural insights in campaigns, think about what is important for us to drive that cultural engagement with our consumers in the different locations of our brand, driving that authentic connection and fostering trust with your consumers so that consumers feel like this brand gets me. It might be a global brand or it might be a Kenyan brand, but I understand the history of it, but I see how it relates to me in my country, and ensuring that the marketing and campaigns you're doing is really effective to ensure that there's a diversity in how you think about your demographics that you are trying to reach. So again, it's not about only changing the language. It's not only about changing the colors. It's about really researching the consumers and how they engage with that brand within that different country that you're trying to produce the campaign for. And I think I've already summarized this kind of stuff, is ensuring that as much as we like, I'll make it examples. It's not only about changing recipes, but if you really understand, for example, brands like McDonald's, I'll make an example of a McDonald's where sometimes in different countries, they'll have a specialized menu for that country, for Asian countries, or for Australian countries versus African countries. They'll add in that little bit of unique menu pieces or items to ensure that as much as there's generic menu items within McDonald's, there's specific ones that actually link to the specific country or audience that they're speaking about. So I do believe this subcategory is really doing a deep dive in terms of the culture aspects and the consumer aspects that are important in driving why the brand is in that country, how people want to engage with that brand within that specific consumer and target audience. As I mentioned, it's not only about localizing and simplifying or adapting the size or imagery, it's really reflecting what that local or what it symbolizes, what the brand symbolizes within that space. Think about engaging with local people and within the different countries that you're going to launch your campaigns or the campaigns that you're going to enter in these awards. Did you really think about, does it authentically engage understand the cultural nuances within that country? Does it represent the different type of people and consumers within that country? How do you integrate the product within that with using these insights when you're thinking about the campaign? And really, again, most importantly, really driving a positive way of representing the brand, and celebrating the cultural aspects of the different spaces that you're going to be driving this campaign on. For me, data-driven insights, most importantly, for me, there's insights online, but I think having a conversation with people and consumers and finding out, what do you think about this product? How does it impact your life? How do you impact your day-to-day? So when you think about the campaigns and you want to drive the strategic objective results for the campaigns when entering this category, make sure you're thinking about this kind of, what are the trends within those countries that you can implement and apply within your campaigns, right? I chose an old ad on purpose because this campaign was a global campaign. There's a new one, but I chose this one specifically because this was, even if it was a global campaign, this was adapted for South Africa. But I still believe the strength of this campaign piece showcases how local insights were utilized for South Africa for a global brand like Coca-Cola. I know there's a new one, but I chose this one on purpose. All right.
All at once to get me along. It's a difficulty, and I'm biting on my tongue. And I need to say anything at all, but with nothing to consider, they forget my name. Hey. They call me help. They call me Stacy. They call me her. They call me Jane. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. They call me Spider, but I'm a nightcat. Mary Jo Lisa, always the same. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name. Hey. Call me.
So you can see why I chose this, because even till this day, everyone is excited about finding a Coca-Cola with their name on it. So this is how I believe, when you really look at insights and when you think about a campaign and you think about how a brand needs to represent itself when it utilizes cultural insights, think about these kind of ads when you are creating your work and entering the work. All right. So in instance, as I said, using cultural insights in campaigns is really demonstrating that you respect and understand the diverse audiences that you're dealing with, and allowing brands to become a valued and trusted partner of the culture conversation rather than just selling goods. So you really need to think about that when you are thinking about the campaigns that you're going to enter for the year, for 2026. Over to our use of influencers and brand ambassadors. Here, I've purposely unpacked influencers and brand ambassadors, because for me, it's important to distinguish the differences between the two. But most importantly, I'm going to start with the fact that when you are thinking about campaigns and you want to collaborate with an influencer or brand ambassador, we need to think about encouraging our clients and the brand teams that we collaborate with, that authentic content is important. Consumers know influencer content, they know brand ambassador content, but we need to think about the way the world has evolved now. Look at how TikTok and UGC is so important now, how brands are getting UGC without influencers at times, but sometimes it's driven by influencers in terms of really using the nuggets that really engage the consumers in an authentic manner. And the most important thing for me when you think about this is really ensuring and empowering your influencers and brand ambassadors to be given the chance to utilize their creative first approach. Not about landing the brand. I know we've got all these guidelines like Creative X and all that kind of stuff that say, put the brand first, put the brand first. I do believe when you're thinking about influencers or brand ambassadors, think about, does this person authentically already engage with the brand? If you're looking at looking at the influencer ambassador, are they people that really use the brand as well, so that when they are driving the campaigns and content for you, your consumers and the audience really sees the authentic connection between the brand and the influencer. So that way that even you can start driving UGC and create a story about the brand that is not only about just paying an influencer to do it and hope that, oh no, they drove 1 million impressions or 1 million views. It's about making sure that outside of utilizing that brand, that influencer or brand ambassadors a community, the community sees the brand and sees why the brand chose a specific influencer or a brand ambassador. So I really think the key strategies of winning with these kind of campaigns is really building from the ground up. So really, it's not about adapting something and being very strict about what creators are supposed to do. So really give them the opportunity and openness to be able to authentically showcase the work that they need to do and how it links to the brand. Create a space where they can collaborate and co-create with the brand and in amplifying the brand's message. And then I do believe then you'll be able to land the authentic creator-led narratives that you're trying to ensure that you resonate with your audiences on. I think, again, what's important as well is the diverse content. We looked at the cultural insight stuff. So when you are looking at collaborating with influencers as well, think about the types of influencers you're utilizing and ensure that they also fit the cultural nuances of your target audiences as well. I've unpacked here in terms of the kind of relationship I believe that brand ambassadors versus influencer campaigns are all about. So I think most of the times when you think about influencers, it's really a short-term campaign-specific transactional. But when you think about ambassadors, these are people who have long-term partnerships with brands who then showcase the genuine love for the brand. So when you are picking what you're trying to do with a campaign, whether it's influencer or brand ambassador-led, think about these things, about how authentically you are representing it from the goals that you're trying to achieve with the brand. So sometimes you want to drive brand awareness for product launches, reaching a new audience. Yes, you can utilize influencers, but choose the right influencers. You want high quality professional content that's diverse. That's important, but also obviously there's a cost with that. And I think also when you think about brand ambassadors, really showcasing, okay, cool, does this person really utilize the brands I mentioned? Do they organically showcase that they relate to what the brand is about, so they can create the relative and engaging content for your consumers? So I do believe, look at the differences when you're thinking about your campaigns for this. I've chosen, again, an ad from years ago where Brand SA chose an influencer or brand ambassador that represented what they were trying to achieve with the campaign. The whole campaign was mostly about the fact that South Africans don't understand their constitution, and they wanted to ensure that young people understand and read the constitution, or understand their rights, or understand the responsibilities of the rights that they have. So they chose a brand ambassador called Imran in ensuring that they showcase the initiative and utilizing an influencer that's known by most people who actually contributes to the creative economy as well, naturally, in terms of what his constitutional rights are as a South African. So this is an example I believe really represents what we are looking for when we look at the work in this category. I'm gonna play this for you now.
Where I'm from, people my age don't have a lot of choices. Either the light or the dark. Want to survive. You dollar what you must. So I did what I thought was right. I chose a side. A side taught me a lot. This is where I learned to shoot. Skill that has allowed our story and the skill I will share with the next generation. I'm Imran Christian, and I'm back by my right of freedom of expression. Salute to the Constitution for having my back.
Right. Over to the most important part of why we're here is how do you prepare your work for awards? So I've really just unpacked for everybody in terms of how do you ensure that you successfully enter and prepare for your awards. So I think what's important is the pre-entry preparation is very important. So really choosing the right award category. And I think before we get here, I believe the best way of really approaching this is create an award strategy for your different clients to say, this is what we're trying to achieve. And when you get those briefs, when you've already looked at the categories within the Picture Festival, start thinking about the brief with that lens in mind to say, I'm going to research and ensure that the creative work that we're doing aligns to the category that I'm going to try enter for. So that you're not trying to track back and start figuring out, okay, cool, I did this work, where does it fit in? But when you do the pre-preps, when before the brief gets into your creative teams, your media teams, your PR teams, think about what category am I trying to enter? So Picture has all the categories guidelines and the categories that are available to everybody. Go look through all those categories. Look at how you're going to create your campaigns to ensure it does link to what the objectives of these categories are. Understand the criteria really well. So read the entry guidelines, make sure you're understanding what we're going to be judging, and really look at ensuring that you're meeting the requirements. Utilize a checklist, create a checklist for your team to say, okay, cool, does it meet the format of how I'm supposed to do it? Does it meet the way I'm supposed to do this case study? And I think plan and start early. I know we get in the rush because in our advertising world, we are constantly busy, but I do believe when you plan with your teams and ensuring that you enter your stuff early, you're not trying to rush and starting to figure out, okay, cool, what objectives am I trying to do, or what the KPIs are. So when you initially, from the onset of the brief, you already outlined what you're trying to achieve for your campaigns, why the kind of results you want to get out of your campaigns. Is easier when you're planning your entry and ensuring that you are delivering a quality case study. You've already achieved those objectives when you enter for the awards, and ensure that you gather the right evidence. So really strong testimonials, case studies are really important when we look at the awards. The stats, the numbers, the KPIs, the why behind why this campaign has worked is very important. So gather the right information before you even create your case study, and make sure that it does link to the checklist that I've spoken about. And collaborate, as I mentioned earlier on, it's most campaigns require collaboration, because at times it's not only from an above the line agency or below the line agency. It's about collaborating with a different partner agency that you've worked on a campaign with, because the insights and the objectives and results might come from different sources, from media, from PR, that really helped encompass why this campaign deserves to win in these categories. Most importantly, when you also craft your entry, is really think about, when you're looking at the brief, weave in the achievements and the evidence very clearly. So when we look at the entries, we want to ensure that we understand, because obviously we're looking at multiple entries at this time. So make sure your story is concise, the brief of why of why the campaign was created, what was achieved, the objectives of it, or have we achieved the objectives. So make sure it's clear and concise. Make sure you put the right bullet points. Make sure you check the grammar. These are very important things when you're looking at entering awards as well. Highlight the unique selling points of your campaign. So making sure that your entry stands out when we are reviewing and judging the work. Ensure you're highlighting why this campaign was unique. We understand ideas are not always new, but what was unique about utilizing the idea that you applied to your campaign that made it stand out, that made it successful for your brands, your clients, and made it successful as a campaign that engaged with your consumers. And again, guys, Pitcher has done an amazing thing every single year. They give you the instructions of how to enter. They give you the type of formats they need. They give you all of that stuff. So keep checking it, put it as a checklist to say, okay, cool, I've ticked this. Yes, it's an MP4. Yes, I've made sure that I've added in translations, because at times, obviously, we are receiving entries across Africa and the globe. So please be cognizant of the fact that you have different judges from different parts of the world. So ensure that it can be read by everyone in this forum. The final steps for me are really proofread and refine and refine and refine. Make sure you're checking the spelling. Make sure the facts are right. Make sure that someone is with you, your creative directors, your copywriters, your proofreaders. Make sure your clients check the work. Make sure you check the data and results are correct. And again, I say submit on time, leverage PR opportunities. I think this is just me adding this as a part of making you boosting morale within the agency, because entering awards is another layer of proactiveness within every agency. So make sure that you are motivating the teams that are working on these case studies, because at times they're doing it after hours and after work. So do encourage them to do that. And I think really have a winning spirit. So when you enter awards, think about not only the winning the award itself, because I understand that awards can be daunting, but I do believe awards are an opportunity for us to learn about other campaigns that have won. It's not only about winning, but if you've entered something, you do win or you don't win, look at it as something that helps you improve for other award categories, or preparing for the next year. Look at it as a time that you can get feedback as well from us, because we do have those sessions post awards to guide in terms of what has worked, what hasn't worked. And that's the reason why I think Pitcher has done these training sessions as well, to ensure that everyone understands how to enter these awards. And really, I think most importantly, have fun doing it. And thank you. If there's any questions, you might not see the chat. Let me see the chat. All right. Are there any questions from anyone or any comments?